Hey y'all, it's your girl Vanessa from Pink Kitty. I know, I miss you too. Life has been lifing, and I probably should have been journaling this, doing a video journal of everything that's been going on, but I haven't been doing that. And I released the book, the first one. I'm still working on the second and third, one of them being a novel. The second one probably going to be like 200 pages. That's what I'm aiming for. But that's not why I decided to join. First thing is, happy 2026. I hope your year is starting off well. Mine is going actually amazingly. I'm very happy with where I am right now. But I wanted to come here and vent. I read this post on a few days ago that says something crazy like, y'all, you ladies don't want to talk about how you create deadbeat dads. And perhaps I was triggered because my dad and I are not in a good space right now. And I really don't see how we will ever resolve the events that happened. But the love is real, the love is there. It's just, yeah, I'm a Virgo. So I'll just leave that at that. So anyway, and I was really upset by that because if you have been here before or if you read my book, then you already know like accountability is one of my huge things, holding yourself responsible for the choices. I won't say holding yourself. I hold myself responsible for the choices that I make in my life, and I have a difficult time being around adults that don't do the same. So anyway, I read the post and I was all, like I said, possibly triggered, but definitely annoyed. Like I don't even have any children, so I can't really say that I was triggered, but it definitely bothered me a lot. I am a huge advocate for children and their development, and how I believe that it does take a village to raise a child. So although I don't have any children, I have definitely, I hope, been a positive driving force in a lot of lives of children. I get back quite frequently when kids are like, I remember when you took me X place and, I made me feel so special. I do get those in these days because I am at that age. But anywho, so I was upset about that when I read the post about the women creating deadbeat dads. So I reached out to 10 men who all just happen to be black. And I asked, under what circumstances would you not talk to your child? And when I said child, I didn't mean like a 40-year-old kid or a 20-year-old kid. I meant like a child, developmental age. We talk of stages, newborn to, I'm going to say 16, because I know at that point, I believe, again, I don't have any kids, but I believe that at, 16, 17, it's not just you not talking to your kid, it's your kid actively making a choice that deuces, or having some kind of impact on what happens in that relationship. And so, although I still believe that the parent should, again, my thoughts still, I believe that the parent should make the hardest effort because, kids are kids. And matter of fact, even when you're an, adult in your 30s and 40s, sometimes in dealing with our parents, we revert back to those ages if there were situations. So anyway, so I reached out to 10 men and I posed the question, under what circumstances would they not speak with their children? And all of them, well, 9 of them said there, no, 8 of them said that there was no circumstance. And one of them said, that the only thing that they could possibly think of that would cause them to not have a relationship with their child is if they became adults. So he was saying, like, there's nothing when they're in their developmental stages, but if they became pedophiles or, um, you know, committed severe crimes like that he would have, actually, he literally was just like, if they hurt somebody else, he doesn't believe that he would be able to maintain a relationship with his kid, and he was saying, again, this is, adult stage, not, teenage or prior to. The other one said that he had a teenage child that he was not having an active relationship with due to, the kid, although not being an adult, they have exercised their right to say that they really didn't want to have a relationship with him. And so, again, that I completely understand, but I can't understand a man saying, and I know, having not been in that situation, I do know some deadbeat dads, but I don't associate with any deadbeat dads. I like, I can't see myself having a close relationship with somebody that's a deadbeat dad. Like, and again, I'm talking about being the child being a child, and in the developmental stage, it's like, I believe that you have an obligation to work out a co-parenting situation. And I do have, I had a guy in my life that had not talked to his children um, due to the relationship with their primary caregiving parent, um, and I gotta say, like, a part of me, like, always, like, side-eyed him. Like, again, we weren't, like, super close, but we did have a relationship. And I just was, like, always side-eyeing him when it came to, talking about the kids. And I was very vocal about, I just really feel like you're not being accountable enough. You're not being responsible enough. Because, he had no problem spending money on whatever new gadget came to mind, but paying that lawyer so he can get, visitation with his kids just seemed to elude him. So for me, it was, I don't know what the situation is, and I understand that each trauma that a person goes through probably, impacts you differently, and we all have different responses to things. But again, I just really feel like when you want to brag and say that you're a parent, but then you don't talk to your kids, like, I think, how? I can't fathom it. I really can't. And so I wanted to have, record this video because I want somebody to, like, if you can, explain that to me, because I'm having a hard time seeing it. And again, this is not my life, but I would like to see a perspective that was being accountable for, the child. Like, what drives you to that? Because it can't just be that person that you created this child with, even if you have an irresponsible penis. If you're a person that's irresponsible with your penis, and it was a situation that you would have preferred them not keep the kid, but they did, or whatever. It's, you do know you avoid these pregnancies by, A, using some form of protection, B, not having sex with a person you don't really value or see yourself with, because we know that that's how babies are made, right? So I am having a hard time seeing it, like, and how it's being accepted. So I just wanted to make this video and talk about that. Like, you know, why we not taking accountability for that? I can't see a circumstance where it's somebody else's fault that you don't talk to anybody that you don't want to talk to. You know, when we want a job, we do what we need to do to get it. When we want a car, we do the things that we need to do to get it. You know, when you want a chick, you know, a woman, you know, or a person. I won't even say a woman, because you know it could be, you know, whatever person you want. You know, you do what it takes to have that person. So how do you consider yourself a parent, you know, and disacknowledge your kid? I would love to hear a perspective on that. So that's this video. Hopefully we'll be talking again soon. Bye.